All right, let's see what this pleasant looking girl is going to tell us today.
I don't get it when men say you're gonna grow old alone with cats, as if that's something that's gonna scare us women. Like, I genuinely think the old spinster stereotype is just made up by men who couldn't stand seeing older women unbothered. Like, studies have shown the happiest women are single and the happiest men are married.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. Wow. For starters, when girls say they're single, what does that mean? Does that mean completely absent of men whatsoever? Because in my head, what I consider single, I don't consider single not married. Okay, so if you have situationships or some guy in the vicinity at all times talking to a guy, in my opinion, that's not single. Any level of intimacy is not single. So if you're depending on a man for anything, even intimacy, you're not single, which I would be extremely hard pressed to imagine that all of these happy single girls are just by themselves with no men in the picture whatsoever. Okay. This is just a blatant lie. And we all know it, right? The main reason girls are happy nowadays is because there's always somebody to take care of them. Okay. They can give nothing and get everything, right? So now, for example, girls go to work, so they feel responsibility from their job. A lot of girls are in some sort of caring positions, which means they take care of people or other children. They fulfill their caretaker desires, and then they're able to come home and then not have any of the old responsibilities. So instead, they get cats to fill the role of having children. These are pretty typical things. On top of that, you can go get some sort of a boyfriend, but it's not a real boyfriend that you use for your intimacy purposes. And you don't have to give him anything because you know you'll always get him just for the intimacy. And then you get it all, truly. You get it all. You get the peace of mind of your own place. You get, what's the classic girl saying again? You don't need to buy the pig to get the sausage. Something like this. Some whatever old lady saying. Anyway, so you really get it all. So it's no wonder you're happy because you can live in this nihilistic state, never have any kids. You buy into the feminist ideology that having kids is negative, when in reality, the statistics in the United States show that we need to have 2.1 kids on average to sustain a population, or a stable population, rather. So you can go ahead and live your nihilistic little life, but in reality, you're extremely selfish for this. And you're not fooling anybody. You're living just for yourself.
The math is not mathing. I think the men are just projecting their biggest fear of being alone for life.
I genuinely don't think that men are scared of dying alone. I think the reality is that men get a lot of purpose from having family and children, eventually at some point in their life, right? When it comes to women, though, I mean, the feminist ideology is so rampant that really a lot of girls can be happy by just being nihilistic their whole lives, no family, only live for themselves, live purely for enjoyment purposes. And society encourages this. So you can pretend to yourself to be happy, right? Also, I mean, I don't know what the actual statistical data is on this particular case. When it comes to surveys, right? Do you believe what people say? I personally don't. I'm extremely skeptical that people are going to be honest about how they feel, right? People lie to themselves all the time. So for a woman to write, I'm happy when I'm single, almost seems a little bit convenient, isn't it? Considering the narrative is all about confirming your decisions and lying to yourself to make yourself feel better about the decision and the hill that you've died on. To me, I'm always skeptical of this. I don't know what the data is. I didn't look into it, so that's just me speculating, of course. Maybe I will look into it just to see, but if it's just survey data or whatever. But moral of the story is, I'm very. This is very clearly a narrative-based video where she might even be coping herself. To be honest, I mean, she doesn't look very happy. I'll say that.
Women are not lonely. We have hobbies, we have friends, we have family, and we sure as hell would rather stay single.
How much do you want to bet that she just recently got out of a relationship with a guy that didn't fulfill her arbitrary requirements, and now she's coming and making a video about how mad she is? Man, I wish I could know the absolute truth in these scenarios. I really do. But there's a very high probability this exact thing happened.
And keep our peace than settle for someone who only brings problems into our lives.
Problems that you create, right? With your, once again, unattainable and arbitrary requirements, right? So you create these problems, and the man doesn't solve the problems that you create. And now the perception is that the man is creating the problems. I mean, I just think that girls just can't be honest about it, right? I mean, look at that. Look at that happy face. She's really happy. I just think that girls just can't admit, right? They can't admit that it's not that they don't like men. It's just that they don't see the value in a man when they can go earn the same amount of money. Meanwhile, they're still expected to do house chores. They just don't see the value in it. That's what it is. They're like, this is not a good deal for me. Rather be single and explore the market, because there's no way she has no guys in her DMs. There's no way that she's not going on any dates whatsoever. There's no way that she's not being intimate with any man on earth. I just refuse to believe this, especially, think about it. The women that are all about this modern ideology, they believe in, body positivity and being able to sleep with whoever you want, whenever you want. So men are in her life. Men are in her life, guaranteed. This is just inescapable. I just love how she's preaching so hard, considering the truth behind the scenes is probably really, really muddy.
That's all.
That's all. Well, you're not fooling me. You're clearly not very happy. I think anyone can see that, so whatever. Let's all pretend. Let's pretend you don't need men for anything that you do in your life. Let's pretend you've never had a guy that's helped you with a lot that you didn't recognize. This is the standard narrative, guys. Nothing new. I'm sure we'll see a bunch more of these types of clips. Don't forget to join my Discord, as I'm building a community of guys that are looking to self-improve.